Welcome to the regular meeting of the Town Council of the Town of Morristown. Today is Tuesday, November 12th, 2024. Margot, please take it away.
Hi, good evening. For the benefit of the public, I will do a roll call. Councilwoman Foster? Here. Councilman Iannacone?
Here.
Councilwoman Lindsay? Here. Councilman Polipchuk?
Here.
Councilman Russo?
Here.
Councilman Silva?
Present.
Council President Umbriac?
Here.
Mr. President, you have a quorum.
Thank you.
Before we get started, I do have two announcements. I do want to announce that resolution number R-178-2024 has been pulled from the agenda and may be considered in the future. Also, ordinance number O-28-2024 is on the agenda for reintroduction. There were some changes made relative to the number of Class 2 licenses that we will be issuing in parks. And we also wanted to amend the hours for those Class 2 licenses that were incorrectly introduced prior. Okay, with that, there's one item on the consent agenda, unless council would like to pull. Oops, I'm so sorry. Please, continue.
Sure. If everyone could just pause for a moment of silence, please. Thank you, and please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay, again, there's one item on the consent agenda. Unless members of council would like to discuss it, I would ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Margot, you got the two corrections I sent?
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Councilwoman Foster?
Yes.
Councilman Iannacone?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lindsay?
Yes.
Councilman Polipchuk?
Yes.
Councilman Russo?
Yes.
Councilman Silva?
Yes.
Council President Umbriac?
Yes.
Motion carries. At this time, I will open the floor for a public hearing on any matter. When called upon, please approach the microphone, state your name and address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. Be advised that any derogatory comments targeting members of council and/or administration may be ruled out of order.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening.
Good evening.
This one good?
Yes.
Okay. Ann Babineau, Wellens, Goldman, and Spitzer. I'm here tonight as counsel to Morristown Green. I hope that you have all gotten a copy of my letter from earlier today. When we found out that this resolution was on for consideration tonight, we put together that letter to request you to forbear from taking action to approve this redeveloper designation right now. We have been working very diligently. I know that you will remember.
Speak into the
that-
microphone.
Can you please speak into the microphone?
Sure. I know you will remember that we wrote to you about 2 months ago, 60 days ago, asking for time to finish up our discussions with SJP. We have been talking to SJP for months, and we had reached the point back on September 10th where we had a letter of intent with them. We asked you for 120 days to finish that up. We have been getting the message that you would like us to move more quickly, and we have been working feverishly to see if we could meet a sooner deadline. And in fact, I was kind of hoping that we might make it by tonight. I think that I come to you with a client who owns the property that you would like to see redeveloped. And I do a lot of redevelopment work all over the state. And I have to tell you that no one likes doing condemnation. It used to be a thing. I'm old enough to have litigated some of those myself, but we don't tend to do them hardly anymore because we try really hard to get voluntary property acquisition. And you can figure out the reasons why. I have to say that trying to put together a deal with a developer who you know well, a developer with a great reputation, was our way of trying to avoid the condemnation route. You know, we have never resisted the idea of the redevelopment plan implementation. You know that Morristown Green tried itself to get something going with Deloitte, et cetera, and we would like to see your plan implemented. There's no question about that. So why are we asking you to forbear? Well, because we think it's the right thing to do. Nobody, least of all the redeveloper, wants to do a project where they don't know what their property cost is going to be. You know, you go in with a black hole. Very often, I know what these redevelopment agreements require. They require that the redeveloper sign on the dotted line and say, whatever the condemnation results in terms of value, the redeveloper has to find a way to pay that. That's hard, living with that lack of certainty, and it's making it makes it really difficult to finance a project when you don't have financial certainty. Condemnation, it's not necessary here with a willing buyer. You know, we really are interested in a voluntary deal ourselves. Couple more things about why we would ask you to forbear from proceeding with the resolution.
I'm sorry, Ms. Babineau, your 3 minutes are up, so if you could please conclude your comments.
Okay. I am going to rely on the letter, but I do want to mention that the resolution that you have before you would call for the acquisition of 10 North Park Place. It's already substantially rehabilitated, and it just doesn't make any sense to include it in the package. We will be able to finish up whatever is needing to be rehabbed there, but to give it to a developer as an assignment, I think not many people have been through the building to see how much has been done there, with some great tenants, by the way, and obviously paying taxes.
Ms. Babineau, I'm so sorry, your time has elapsed.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Babineau. Yes, sir.
My name is Rick Sirota. I'm an attorney, Wiley Milhorn Sirota in Morristown. My question preliminarily is, did you say, I missed your statement, did you say you withdrew for tonight the ordinance relating to the food trucks?
No, sir.
Okay.
That is still on the agenda.
Well, then you'll have to listen to me then. And I apologize in advance. I'm an attorney representing the trustees of the Morristown Green. I'm also a trustee. In this short period of time, I want to explain how much we feel there's been a great difficulty created by the operation of the food trucks, particularly these large ones, on the green. So we're not only opposed to the ordinance, we're opposed to these large food trucks being on the green. As you know, for over 200 years, we've operated and owned the property essentially to the road, and we've seen it as a way to benefit Morristown. The people who live in Morristown, the people who work in Morristown, and the people who visit Morristown. The creation of these trucks now are different than they've been. I've lived here a long time, and I've recognized that there may have been a person selling hot dogs and 3 people in front of that in a garbage receptacle. That's not the circumstance we have now. That was a field mouse. That presented some difficulties to operating the green to the benefit of the public, which is what we do. But they were resolvable. What we have now is might best be described as a bull elephant. We have an enormous truck drawing an enormous number of people with a generator creating loud noises and gases and generating a population of customers that fill the sidewalks and more of the green. And in addition to that, what they do is they buy food, enormous amounts of food, and there are wrappers, there is food not eaten. So not only the garbage receptacles get filled, but they get overfilled, and they have to be resolved. And then you have pieces of food that are all over the area, and the fear is that they bring vermin. The real truth of it is not in the specifics of this ordinance. the real truth is that these trucks of this nature, drawing all these number of people, taking all the parking spaces with double parking, are not appropriate to this site. This isn't a statement, and the trustees don't have a statement against food or against trucks. They just have to be in the appropriate place.
Mr. Cerruti, your 3 minutes are up, so if you could please conclude your comments.
Oh, that's really hard for me to do. But I ask you not to look at the specifics of this ordinance, but to look at the reality of the situation. Drive by on it really any evening, or drive by at the height certainly. No one can get into the green from that part of the green.
Sir, I'm sorry, but your time is up. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you all very much. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your concerns.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I promise you it won't be no more than 3 minutes. My brother and I are here because we own a...
Your name, sir?
Oh, excuse me. My name is Eddie L. Portis. And my brother and I are here today because we own a small taxi cab company here in Morristown, which is called PNP Taxi. We've been here for a long period of time. And we had to renew our insurance last month. And we found that the insurance for renewing a taxi cab company is $1.5 million. Now, that went up since last year, which was $100,000, but now it's $1.5 million. And with the gas increase, and with Uber and Lyft in town, we need to go up on our fares at least $15 for our local runs. We cannot stay in business for $8 in Morristown. So we're asking the town council, to go up on our fares for $15, and we're very much appreciated. Thank you. God bless you.
Eddie, your insurance went up 1.5
$1.5 million.
million. Your insurance premium.
My premium. 1.5 million.
It's almost like the state wants to put
Exactly. 1.5 million. Think about that.
You got another problem.
Yeah, that's a big problem. That's a big problem. So we just praying and hoping that the town council will go up on our fares for our local runs, because we can charge a fare fee outside of Morristown, but inside of Morristown, the local runs is only $8. And with gas prices being what they are right now, and you got Uber, you got Lyft, it's very difficult for us to stay in business. So we're hoping, and I'm praying that the town will see it, that they will go up on our fares at least $15. Any questions? Thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
My tiptoes.
You can
I can.
push it down a little bit.
No.
Just speak
I'll
louder.
project.
It'll pick
Okay.
It'll
I'll
pick it up.
project.
Yeah, it'll pick it up.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Leandra Jarena. I live in.
I'm sorry,
Yes.
could you please repeat your name?
Yes, Leandra Jarena.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, of course. I live in Morristown. I live over on Sussex Avenue. I'm also a member of Wind of the Spirit Immigrant Resource Center, also known as WATS, which has many members who also live in our town. My involvement with Wind of the Spirit is deeply personal because many of my friends and loved ones, specifically my husband, are immigrants. Watts provided invaluable assistance to my husband and I as we navigated his permanent residency green card process. Public speaking, I can do this.
You can do it.
Wind of the Spirit's work is more urgent than ever as the incoming federal government has vowed to start mass deportations on day one of the new administration. Nearly 1 in 4 New Jerseyans is an immigrant, and over 10% of U.S. citizen children live with at least one undocumented family member. We're here tonight to make sure that Morristown's government has the resources and the resolve to stand with all of Morristown's communities. The 10th Amendment is clear that the federal government cannot compel state and local governments to enact or administer a function of the federal government, which includes immigration enforcement. Further, state and local governments are free to refuse requests to do so and to prohibit employees from assisting in federal enforcement actions. In the immediate term, it will be important to facilitate a rapid, coordinated local response to mass immigration raids. Our partners in the ACLU stand ready with information and resources available soon, and we'd also like to leave you information on how our town can join Cities for Action, a coalition of nearly 180 U.S. mayors and county executives who advocate for pro-immigrant federal policies, including 10 in New Jersey. For the very near future, we'd also like to leave you information on the New Jersey Immigrant Trust Act, which has been introduced in the state legislature and would clarify the distinction between federal intrusion and state and local laws and values when it comes to protecting the privacy of our immigrant residents and keeping their families together. It's important that this law be passed before the new federal administration takes office, and we encourage you to pass a resolution supporting it. We are happy to help in crafting this and have included sample resolution language. Finally, we'd like to leave you with a packet of statistics on the economic contribution and family makeup of immigrants in our great state. Families throughout our state have members of mixed status. Some born here, some naturalized, some undocumented, some dreamers, and more. Those with and without status alike abide by the law, pay taxes, own businesses, employ workers, raise families, and contribute to our community. The only difference is those without status lack a piece of paper that the federal government has made increasingly difficult to obtain. They have risked everything to come here and are an integral part of our great community. We cannot do without them, and we must stand with them. Thank you for your time, and if you will, I have packets of information that I can leave with you all.
Yeah, bring it to the clerk.
Great job.
Thank you very much.
And 3 minutes exactly.
Yes, thank you, thank you.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Alice Cutler, and I'm president of the trustees of the Morristown Green. I appreciate the comments from my fellow trustee, Rick Sirota, who you all were kind enough to hear. I wanted to just piggyback on his comments that in addition to our concern about the overuse of the green from the food trucks, we have the additional burden of having to have the garbage picked up on Sundays, which is above and beyond what our normal maintenance contractor does. So that's been a burden that we've had to have really since the early summer when we started seeing an increase in garbage. Also, I'm a little concerned as an environmentalist with a lot of these containers that the food is served in that doesn't necessarily look like it's recyclable. But overuse is really our concern. Thank you so much for your interest.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Burns. Oh, Kristen Ace. Let's have Kristen Ace first, and then you, Bill.
Oh, cut Billy right off.
Cut him off. Good evening, Council. I'm Kristen Ace. I live at 24 Franklin Street, and I'm representing the Morristown Shade Tree Commission. Just a lot is going on, so I will go quickly. We declined to apply for the land scale grant. I know that I told you at the last time I was here that we were going to, but it's a 50-50. And with all the other things we have going on, we were not certain that we could match that 50%. So another time, maybe. The 2024 planting will be complete at the end of December. The drought has caused major problems for us. So we have to wait until the trees are completely dormant and keep praying for rain, but all the trees will be in by the end of December. In the parks, Jacob Ford, we are done with phase 1 of our reforestation, which is invasive species removal. We did it. It was really successful, more successful than I could have ever hoped for. We will have to do the same thing again next year. I do not anticipate being able to reforest until the 3rd year, but the fact that we were this successful this year means that we might be able to tarp the slopes next year. We will see, but we're on it. Orchard Playground. So we almost finished all of the cardboard sheet mulching, but then in the process we found a rickety, dangerous, rusty fence that we almost poked our eyes out with. So DPW, being amazing, came in, took out that fence, took out a huge cement slab, and we finished raking all the garbage and everything out. So now we're just waiting for DPW to just finish the mulching for us because we have other things happening now and we can't finish it up. But my next goal there is to find a resident to donate water to us so that next fall, when we put the shrubs in, we can water. Because we cannot plant without water. I mean, right now we're in a drought. Hopefully we won't have one, but new plants need a massive amount of water to get established. So, but the playground is so cute now. I mean, it was so dilapidated until we got there, and now it's adorable. So there's gonna, and as the shade grows in and as the plants grow, it'll be a little gem. Bud Park, yay, the planting is done. There's nothing more stressful than planting a $36,000 native garden in a drought. So it is complete. It was very successful. There are many things that I need to say about Bud Park because this did not happen alone, although it was my idea. There are so many components to making it happen. Going to Anthony DeVizio 3 years ago and saying, this is an idea I have, can we put a path in and then put a native planted behind it so he can give me the parameters with which I can work in. And he knows how things are supposed to work in a park. Then I go to Jillian Barrick, our town administrator, and say, okay, engineering says this will work. Will you approve this project? And then from there, when she said yes, I go to the Shade Tree Commission and say, is this a project that you guys can get behind?
I'm sorry, your 3 minutes are up. If you could please conclude your comments.
Okay, so I have lots of thanks. Anthony DeVizio, Joe Curlo, Jessica Moya of Whole Foods, and then I'll have to finish up in December, but I will send you guys a report. We're doing great work. Thank you.
Thanks, Kristen.
Thank you, Kristen. All right, Mr. Burns, you're up.
Good evening. Hold on, can somebody put this down?
No, it picks up, Bill. You could just speak
Okay.
loud.
Good evening. My name is Bill Byrne, and I live at 100 Franklin Street. And I'm here to thank people that sponsored me, donated. It was really a success. I raised over $2,000 and some odd dollars, and that's counting with Councilman Bob Anticomb's donation. So it was really a success. Thank you for sponsoring me. Look forward to doing it again next year. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks you,
Way to
Bill.
go, Billy. Yeah, give him a round of applause. That's pretty good.
Mr. Armington.
Stephen Armington, 16 Cutler Street. I wanted to thank the administration for curbing the east side of Corey Road between Speedwell Avenue and the railroad overpass. That section of Corey Road is the only pedestrian walkway for about a mile north of Flagler Street. I think the demand would be very high, but for the 250 foot of section on the east side of the railroad trestle where there's no sidewalk and there's a hairpin turn and no, not even really space to walk off the road because it's broken asphalt and such. I'd like to hope that in the town's planning for that first section of Corey Road that there's a plan for the next section. Otherwise, it's sort of a great place to walk to nowhere. So I'm curious what the plan is and if there's a timing for that plan. Thank you very much.
Good to see you, Stephen.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Carl Bottenhausen, one of the trustees of the Morristown Green, here to speak on the extension of the time for the food truck, which we've discussed before. The extension of the time of the food truck would be even more onerous on managing the green. At this point, the contractor that takes care of the green for us has been diligent and tried to, in a gentlemanly way, express that the operator of the food truck should follow the ordinances, pick up his own trash, put out his own trash container, follow the prescribed hours that's in your ordinance, which he's not getting much traction on at all. If you look on the Facebook or any other things, you can see that occasionally he is there until 1 o'clock in the morning, trying to pick up additional business from the bars that close. It leaves the green quite a mess. Mrs. Cutler expressed the extensive cleaning that we have to do, which certainly isn't planned. The food truck is much of an overuse of what you probably thought of when you set up this ordinance. It has lines of people that come in. Access to the green is limited. It is supposed to be a green for the public use. and that one food truck takes up at sometimes most of the green, or at least enough to inhibit other people from using it. So we wholeheartedly are against extension of the hours, and we are wholeheartedly against that particular person getting relicensed without the town coming in and monitoring them, so at least they live up to the requirements of your existing ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Last trustee you'll hear from tonight. So, Richard Schomer, one of the trustees of the Morristown Green. Rick Serota started off telling you about really this is just too intense a use at this site. For over 200 years, you've heard that the trustees have owned, operated, and maintained the green, and the purpose is to maintain it for public enjoyment. And in order to continue it for public enjoyment, this intense use just really interferes with that. You've heard about the trash, you've heard about the pollution, the large truck sitting there, getting in the way of vehicles, taking up space, crowding on the green, the trash. All of these really interfere with the purpose of the green, which is for public enjoyment. And we continue and are happy to operate and maintain the green as best we can. But this type of an operation, these types of uses have just become too much in this location. Somewhere else perhaps is an appropriate place for this kind of operation, but this is not for a commercial activity to be used on the green. And that's effectively what's happening, and it's just going on for too long, and it's interfering with the use by the public, and it puts an undue burden on the trustees for maintaining the green, which we do and we're happy to do, but we own the green from curb, everything inside of the curb, sidewalks and everything. So for those reasons, you've heard from my fellow trustees, we are against this kind of activity. It's just grown to be too much at the green. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else from the public? I'll go ahead and close public session. Council responses to public hearing comments.
I'll get started with the green, I think.
Sure.
Actually, this was called to my attention last week. You know, just some history on this. This was presented to council 2 meetings ago, I believe. And one of the concerns of both administration and the council was the safety of the extended hours. So Jillian went back and talked with the Department of Public Safety and came back, and we extended the hours, but we didn't cut any. We didn't give them what they were looking for, 1 o'clock in the morning. We extended, I think, in that zone to 9 o'clock. And then in other areas, we actually started limiting the trucks and actually limiting the hours. I actually think that there's enough concern here that I've heard tonight that we should table this again. Because I think the points that the trustees of the Green are bringing up are good ones. I think another very telling fact is the fact that they control from the curb on, which actually, it really is, may be a matter for the Green, not so much a matter for the town in terms of the use of food trucks. Because let's face it, the majority of the people eating, the majority of the people online, they're on the property of the Green. And I think we need some time to think about that and the ramifications of that. You know, should the Green be asking for insurance policies from these trucks? Okay, since they're on their property. There's a lot of issues that might need to be addressed. And I also think that, you know, the issues that are being raised, and I believe them, but I'll use the word alleged for now, okay? But the concerns that they're raising now are something that we should take a closer look at. After I did get the first email from Alice Cutler, I did walk the Green, and I saw exactly what she described, okay? And I walked the Green, it was on Friday night, and it was around 9 o'clock. I saw exactly what she was talking about, overflowing garbage, and given the fact that they also maintain the Green at their expense, I think that's another point that we have to consider. So I think 2 things. One, I think we should table this. maybe administration, along with maybe if you want to get some folks together to take a look at it. I mean, it's right outside your door.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? And maybe we should table this and get some more facts.
Okay.
Again, it may be a bigger issue than the hours, and I think that's really what they're raising, is
Yeah.
I think we have to have a conversation, a good conversation with the green as to how should the green be used and what is the future of the green.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's, I'm open to a conversation. You know, I think we were able to compromise, and initially it was 1 a.m. They wanted to have the food trucks there. We came back and said 9 p.m. But what we're hearing tonight is they're staying even longer than that. So that's an enforcement issue, I imagine. I walk the green every week, every weekend with my family. I pick up a lot of garbage. I have seen rats on the green. So it is a concern, and it is something that we should, you know, consider further. I agree.
May I?
Please.
Okay, yes. I have a different view of this. I think that we should serve. Yes, I agree with Mr. Iannacone that we should take a deeper look at this, and we should have a conversation. But it's not only between us and the trustees. Also, we have to involve the 3 licensees that they have their businesses there, which they have been there for years, and these licenses are not new. And I agree that they might not, I'm not sure, I haven't been there, but I'm sure that they need to improve on what they do to maintain the green clean. So my advice is that we should serve them with a notice, reminding them of their responsibility, but also obtaining their collaboration to clean the green. I don't see, as far as I know, that they will reject that. And I think that because what I have heard, or maybe what I understood, is like cut them off. I don't think that's the answer, and I won't accept that answer, and I won't vote for that kind of answer. But if we have a good, honest conversation, I believe that we can obtain their collaboration, and even we can encourage them and educate them so they go beyond what we require from them, and they will be taking care of the green. So that's my response to this.
Any other comments on the green? I think everybody's open to a conversation and work together towards a compromise. I think that's loud and clear.
Yeah, I agree with that. And, you know, as Councilman Iannacone mentioned, this is in my front yard, and I do see the line. So I appreciate where he's coming from, all the trustees who spoke tonight. I appreciate where they're coming from. And I see where Pastor Silver's coming from, too, but maybe there could be a compromise there. I know anytime, you know, I put on events, and anytime we touch a park, we pay them a fortune just to be there. So maybe there's something where if they are there, there's a fee to be there, which go toward cleaning up the park every day, whatever the case may be. But I definitely think we should have a very in-depth conversation about that. But thank you to all the trustees for coming out tonight. It is an important issue.
Nathan, do
Yes.
we table it then? What did we?
Mr. Minchello.
Yes, you can do that at the time when the ordinance comes up, when it's introduced. Yep.
PNP Taxi, thank you for coming and speaking. They left. Well, I thought, you know, obviously the fact that their insurance went up to $1.5 million from $100,000, there might be some other things, but maybe, Margot, if we can do some benchmarking. I know we've done benchmarking before. If we could see, certainly $8 within town doesn't seem like enough, and I know about competition and about other licensees, and so I understand that they're just trying to operate a small business in Morristown.
So what we did look at this about 9 months ago. 9 months ago, we looked at the rates, and actually, Margot, I believe you got competitive rates elsewhere. And again, the concern is who uses taxis versus Ubers
Right.
are the lower income people in town.
Right.
And also tend to be the seniors that use the taxis. But I think we should probably get our data together again and refresh it.
Yeah.
Is there anything we could do? How can somebody's insurance go up to $1.5 million for a 2-cab operator?
Yeah, I would like to know more about their specific claims history. Maybe they had a particularly difficult year as far as claims are concerned. I think we need more information to figure out why the jump. Yeah.
But it's worth looking at again, right?
Yeah.
Remember, they're also dealing with gypsy cabs.
Right.
So it's tough to make a living as a legitimate cab company when you're competing with Uber, Lyft, and gypsy cabs in Morristown.
That was a big issue last time,
Yeah.
and we did put some.
Well, you
meat-
waived the fees.
Exactly.
For the taxi cabs, so they don't have to pay that fee to get their, they have to still get their inspections and do all the A's, B's, and C's, but they don't have to pay the fee to be a licensed cab company, just to give them some type of relief, because it's very difficult to deal with Uber and Lyft and gypsy cabs, and to be successful in Morristown. And they've been here a long time.
They have been.
They're on Martin Luther King right across from Calvary.
A lot of seniors, and that number's on the
Yep.
refrigerator.
Yep.
And that's how they get around town.
Yeah, no, P&P's been around a long time.
And I'd just like to thank, I believe her name was Leandra from Wind of the Spirit. Thank you for coming and speaking. I look forward to reviewing the material that you provided to us today. And I would be interested in potentially looking at something supporting a supportive ordinance or something to support. A what? Resolution, I'm sorry.
And it's interesting, Nathan. The mayor will remember this also. Mayor, you want to tell the story?
I don't know where he's going.
Back in
So
a
you never
prior-
just
No,
know where he's
Back in
going.
a prior administration, what you were talking about in the state enforcing federal action, they can't do that. In fact, it became an issue here in this town.
I ran on it.
Under a previous
Yeah.
administration, and those efforts were stopped dead in the water. So,
Yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves
Yeah.
with the national rhetoric that's going on with immigration. We don't know where it's going to land, and there's a lot of fear out there, a lot of fear on what's going to take place. We know who the czar is going to be for immigration under the new president, so it's kind of a wait and see. And, everybody just stay calm. We'll get through this.
Pastor, you had something you wanted to say?
Matt? Yes, of course. Thank you, Leandra, for being there and for the work that you do with the Wind of the Spirit for immigrant families. And I agree with the mayor. We shouldn't get ahead of ourselves. The least thing that we want for people is to be fearful. I think that as the new administration takes over and we see what is that they're going to be doing, then we will have strategies to help the families that live in our town. The families there are working people. Many of them are even 10, 20. Even I know families from 30 years ago that the parents don't have documents. The kids were born here. They have grandkids here. They have businesses. They pay taxes and so on. And I agree with Leandra, the contribution. Unfortunately, as I said, the day that the mayor gave the proclamation for Hispanic Heritage Month, in Washington, they haven't resolved the issue of immigration. One thing is the border, and another thing is immigration, where we have a lot of families that have been here for decades, and they still don't have documents because we need an immigration reform. So I think that we should wait and see, and from there we start doing strategy. And yes, I clearly remember the first time that Mr. Tim Doty ran, it was on that issue, and he won on that issue because we don't want any interferences in our town from the federal government. We can handle our own things. So that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor.
Just add one thing.
Sure.
I'm not going to repeat anything that's already been said. I agree with everything, but Leandra, I'm your council representative. I definitely want to have further conversations with you. I'll stop by and give you my card at the end of the meeting. So.
Any other responses? Okay, then we will move on to the mayor's proclamations and presentations.
It's always moving the mic around on me, whether it's in front of my face or here. Todd, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody?
Hi, I'm one of the few non-attorneys and trustees in the audience. My name's Todd Cohen. I'm a volunteer from the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network and also a resident of Morristown.
And we've been doing this now for a few years.
Yeah, about 10 years.
Yeah, so it's an important proclamation, not only on pancreatic cancer, which you'll hear me speak about with this proclamation. Obviously, it touched home to Todd, but it also touched myself at work when we lost a coworker to pancreatic cancer. So let me read this into the record and present you and then say a few words to the public.
Thank you.
All right, whereas in 2024, an estimated 66,440 people will be diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in the United States. 51,750 will die from this disease. Pancreatic cancer is one of the deadliest cancers. It is currently the third leading cause of cancer death in the United States and is projected to become the second leading cause within the next 5 years. Pancreatic cancer has the lowest survival rate among all cancers, with a 5-year relative survival rate of just 13% and accounts for about 7% of all cancer deaths. When symptoms of pancreatic cancer present themselves, it is generally in the later stages. Only 10% of pancreatic cancer patients are diagnosed when the disease is confined to their pancreas, and 87% of pancreatic cancer patients die within the first 5 years. Approximately 1,950 deaths will occur in New Jersey in 2024. Pancreatic cancer is the 7th most common cause of cancer-related death across the world. There will be more than an estimated 500 million new pancreatic cancer cases diagnosed worldwide in 2025, a yearly increase of 3%. The good health and well-being of the residents of Morristown are enhanced as a direct result of increased awareness about the symptoms and risks of pancreatic cancer, research and its early detection, causes and effective treatments. Now therefore, I, Timothy P. Doherty, Mayor of the Town of Morristown, do hereby proclaim November 21st, 2024 as World Pancreatic Cancer Day in the Town of Morristown. And thank you, Todd, for everything you do to continue to bring awareness to this really deadly disease of pancreatic cancer. Thank you.
I just want to thank the mayor, I want to thank the council for allowing me just a short period to, and thank you for the proclamation. I lost my dad to pancreatic cancer in 2002, and the way he passed away, it was just devastating to our family, and to realize there were no early detection methods, there's no treatment, viable treatment options, and now we're looking 22 years later, and it's pretty much, even though we've made some progress, the survival rate went from 6% to 13%, it's still unacceptable. So I'm here today to carry the torch for those that are fighting pancreatic cancer, those who have passed away. 5 months ago, I went to Sergeant Brendan Briscoe's wake and funeral, and for those who didn't know, he was a policeman in town who lost a battle to pancreatic cancer at age 53, I believe. It's terrifying. It can hit anyone, and if you don't know someone who has been diagnosed, you probably will. Steve Jobs, Patrick Swayze, the list goes on and on, Alex Trebek. So by raising awareness, November is Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month. On November 21st, you'll see people in the media wearing purple. I encourage you to do the same. Wear purple. We're looking to change the trajectory of this disease. 52,000 people will lose their battle, and nearly 2,000 in New Jersey. To some, that might not seem like much of a number, but it's a growing number. We have an event called Purple Stride New Jersey that takes place in Parsippany. It'll be April 26th, 2025. You can go to purplestride.org/NJ. If you know someone that's fighting pancreatic cancer, please go to pancan.org. There are free resources. There are possible life-saving clinical trials that are available. All of this is free. Nutrition information, a hotline that can help support you, your loved one in their fight. You know, we're trying to do everything we can to change the course of this disease. Once again, thank you, Mayor, thank you, Council, and thank you, everybody, for listening to me today.
Thanks, Tom. I'll finish up.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so on Wednesday, the 23rd of October, the grand opening of the Address Restaurant. If you haven't been there, it's on South Street. It's really great. It's Mediterranean. It's a great restaurant. A lot of fun, especially if you want to celebrate a birthday. They have a great way of celebrating your birthday. On October 26th, the Morris Arts Pumpkin Illumination took place on the Vail Mansion lawn. Another great, successful outing from the Morris Arts. Well attended. I mean, it was packed. It was the largest crowd I've seen so far for the pumpkin illumination. So they were coming from all over, not just Morristown. They were coming from outside of Morristown. And I think, Steve, you passed me and didn't even recognize me. I said hello. I got a skull cap. I don't know if you knew it was me.
I did say hi afterwards, though.
Yeah.
But yeah.
On the 31st, Halloween events, Morristown Recreation and Partnership did downtown trick or treat. Thank you, Jen Waring. I know she's in the back somewhere. Raise your hand. There you go. The town does something amazing. And if you have never come here on Halloween, you've got to come down and see how many thousands of kids converge on our downtown. And Jen, just for the record, some of the businesses were complaining the kids were at their stores at 1:30. And a little early. So people went through thousands of pieces of candy. It was crazy. But it's great to see the parents and their kids. They get out of school early. They bring them down. It's a lot of fun. So thank you to the partnership and all the businesses that participated in that event. On the November 2nd, the grand opening of Infinity Fitness. Who was at that one with me? Nathan, Council President, Toshiba Foster was there. They really did a nice job
Very nice
on
job.
redoing the gym. It used to be NBD up by the green, right across from, right next to Starbucks. They did a nice job on renovating that, and same business owners. So if you're looking for a new gym, Infinity Fitness, 40 West Park Place. Tuesday, we had a general election. We all know the outcome of that, and we're all still here. Government is still functioning. People are smiling, but roll up your sleeves. We've got work to do, and just stay focused and stay true to your beliefs. Friday, November 8th, NPAC celebrated its 30th anniversary with its annual Starlight. I want to thank my wife. She attended that, as I attended the NAACP 92nd Anniversary Freedom Fund Banquet at the Morris Arts with Councilman Christopher Russo. Well-attended event, great speaker.
Yeah.
And it was a good night. November 11th, we had the Veteran Day services. Again, the township did a great job, and the town did a great job. Councilman Russo, myself attended. Great speaker.
Yep.
And it was about our homeless and how many homeless are veterans. And that there's programs out there and people that are very committed to helping homeless veterans. And the guy was great. He was a former active duty Marine. And great, short and sweet, right to the point. And it was just both township and town were well attended. So thank you to all the guys that put that together, Jim Kavanaugh, and of course Tony Romano, who was celebrated 50 years of his service to the Veterans Organization on the Green. And of course, you couldn't ask for a better place than have it on the Morristown's historic green. And you could see Alice Cutler beaming especially when they mentioned, not to take too much time with this, I know we have a presentation, is when you're on that green and there's a breeze, and you're standing on that green, and you're part of Morristown, you're realizing you're standing on something very historic. That this is where the Revolutionary War was planned back in 1779 and 80, and who came here, and what we're going to be celebrating next year, and the birth, the birthday of our country, and you see that flag flying, and right underneath it was the Morristown's flag. Yeah, that's right. You should clap, because we're standing, and I leaned over to Chris, and I go, look, it's our flag. And that was pretty cool to see that waving right underneath the American flag. and to stand there and know that you were standing in the same spot that George Washington could have been addressing the troops back in the day. It's pretty wild when you think about it. So congratulations to the trustees on the green for what you guys do to keep, as some people tell me, the prettiest downtown and green in the country. So thank you. No question about it. Wednesday the 13th, if those who are seniors want to attend, I have a Q&A with the seniors, and that is tomorrow at 11:30 in the Senior Center. And if you want to have some fun and you're a senior, come. I'm looking at Rick. I bet you he's a senior now. And yes, and they are a lively bunch. So if anybody in the council wants to pop in, you should, because they really hammer you with questions, and they have a good time. They like coming for the sweets, I think. But tomorrow, Thursday night, very important for the public. I'm sure Kevin has this in his Morristown Green. We have our Atlantic Health Systems Town Hall meeting here at 7 o'clock Thursday in the Senior Center. I believe it's 7 to 9. There's a hard stop at 9. I think it's 2 hours, and we're not going to get finished. There's going to be more meetings after that. But so make sure your constituents know. Just email reminder. It's town-wide. It's not just directly people that are impacted, right, that live there. It's impacted to everybody in the community to find out where they want to go, why they want to do it, and how they're going to do it. Just a couple more, Council President. Sure. November 15th, rock and roll big night of giving benefit to at the Ukraine American Cultural Center in Whippany. I'll be attending there. If you want to come, we can get this. Kevin, I don't know if you're aware of this, or we can get this. I think it's on our website. It's rock and roll big night. It's a giving benefit at the Ukrainian American Cultural Center in Whippany. It's the big Ukrainian center in Whippany. I think you know where it is, Councilman Plivchak. It's for includes food and entertainment. Proceeds benefit the Molly Mack GoFundMe page, Michael Spiaga, and recent hurricane devastated areas. So if you don't know who Molly Mack is, she was the one that was in the severe car accident that took place not too long ago on Route 24. There were 5, and she's a senior. I believe she's a senior at
Whippany Park, maybe?
Whippany Park, or Hanover, severely injured. So it's a GoFundMe page that we're going to attend. My wife and I are going to attend. The mayor from Hanover, Ace Gallagher, has been very active along with other mayors, and he's asked us. He's reached out to Morristown to be part of it, and we built a coalition with Hanover and some other mayors. So we're going to go support their mayor and their goal in raising funds for the Molly Mack and for the recent hurricane devastated areas. November 24th, MPAC's Festival of Lights on the Vail Mansion Lawn and Plaza. That is between 5 and 7. That is November 24th, Festival of Lights. Sunday, December 1st, 5 p.m., Morristown's Partnership Santa Arrival and Lighting of the Morristown Green. Don't miss it. It's 5 o'clock on December 1st. That's a Sunday. November 28th and 29th, Town Hall offices are closed in observance of Thanksgiving holiday. We will not be meeting again until December, correct? So you won't be hearing from me publicly like this until December. I'll see everybody over the next few days, and then obviously we have meetings, and then at the league, at the convention for municipalities. Look forward to seeing everybody, and that's it, Council President. Thank you.
Thank you. Just one last thing I'd like to add. If you haven't seen down the business district, down South Street, the Motown Hero flags.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd like to publicly acknowledge and thank the administration for working with the partnership, the Daughters of the American Revolution, American Legion, and the Rotary Club of Morristown to bring the Motown Heroes to Morristown.
Yeah, just so you know, we gave you a mention. We had mentioned you and the Rotary and the Legion, and we recognized Dar. That was in attendance at the green for that.
I'm just happy it happened.
No,
so however it happened.
you were very partly responsible for that.
It was a collaborative effort.
Yes,
but thank you.
We appreciate it, Council President. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to our presentation of North Park Place redevelopment.
Good evening, members of the council and members of the public. John Inglesino from the law firm of Inglesino Taylor Redevelopment Council for the town of Morristown. Earlier this year, the mayor had articulated that the redevelopment of the North Park Place area was a top priority for the town. And a lot of work has been done over the past several months to reach the point that you are at tonight, which will be to, in a moment, see a presentation from the proposed redeveloper, and also for you to consider adopting a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign a short-form redevelopment agreement between the town and North Park Place Developers, LLC, which is a joint venture between TAG Development and Cannon Hill Capital Partners, LLC, whom you'll hear more about in a moment. The short form of redevelopment agreement provides a history of public actions that have occurred with regard to this property. The town went out in a public process to solicit proposals from interested developers with regard to this site. I will say that SJP did not submit a proposal for this development. Based upon the review of the proposals received, the administration is recommending this particular developer, North Park Place Holdings. The redevelopment agreement is a short-form redevelopment agreement. It provides a term of 120 days in order to accomplish a few things. Number one, to provide an opportunity for the redeveloper to approach the property owner in hopes of reaching a consensual agreement with regard to a development, with regard to a price for the property that is based upon a development proposal that you endorse. It's all well and good for another developer to reach an agreement with the property owner, but that's on a project that you haven't seen and know nothing about. Here, it would be giving this opportunity to this redeveloper to reach an agreement on a price with regard to a development proposal that you would endorse. And number two, while that is occurring, that would provide us as legal counsel the opportunity to work on a comprehensive redevelopment agreement that would be more in line with some of the issues that we heard about before, to address some of those and the issues that you're used to seeing in a comprehensive redevelopment agreement. But we did not want to waste time and wanted to get the process rolling, and this was a way to do that. So we think that we certainly recommend that you adopt the resolution for the short form redevelopment agreement. And at this time, I want to turn it over to Doug Doyle of the Dakotas firm, who will introduce the proposed designated redeveloper. And I think they have a presentation to make for you and the public.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John. I'm going to break with tradition. I can't stand the optic. I am just too short. I hope you don't mind.
Nope.
I don't want that to be the distraction. Yeah, I know. That's for later, John. My name is, as John indicated, my name is Douglas Doyle. I'm a senior partner with the law firm of Dakotas, Fitzpatrick, Cole, and Giblin. We're located in Paramus, New Jersey, and I have the pleasure of representing the joint venture partners this evening that have been selected by the administration and recommended to the governing body for consideration and hopefully the adoption of a resolution. At the end, if you'd like me to address my colleague Ann Babineau's request, I'm happy to do that. The developer is a joint venture between Cannon Hill Partners and TAG Development. You're going to shortly hear from Eric Rubin, but I want to introduce who the principals are of this joint venture. Eric Rubin is the founder and chief investment officer of Cannon Hill. Also this evening is Ralph Salerno. He is the chief executive officer of TAG Development. We have with us this evening Lee George, the director, chief development officer of TAG Development. Jesse Lacerson, Senior VP of Construction and Development at Canon, Sharon Roundtree, who makes me look good because she sends me all this stuff, Executive Vice President of TAG Development, Caleb Kushner, Associate Investments at Cannon Hill, and finally, somebody who I know has made presentations many times before perhaps this governing body as well as the planning board, Dean Marchetto, founding principal of MHS Architecture. So you're going to hear from two people this evening, Eric Rubin, who's going to tell you about the qualifications of this joint venture, the type of projects that this joint venture has completed, is underway, that is emblematic of similarly situated municipalities throughout the state and in some cases in New York. Again, at the end, I'm happy to address Ms. Babineau's questions, but I could tell you before we started.
Mr. Doyle, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but.
I gotta get closer.
No, that's
Okay.
fine. On behalf of the council, we don't need you to respond to Ms. Babineau's
Okay.
letter or her comments this evening. We're really much more interested in hearing your presentation on your project.
I appreciate that,
Thank
and I
you.
just wanted to let you know that I've already spoken to her. We're going to be speaking tomorrow morning about moving this project forward and how we can do that.
Thank
So
you.
at this time, thank you. At this time, I'm going to have Eric Rubin introduce the team.
Good evening, everybody. First of all,
You can raise that up
I know, you set me up here. I feel like,
I screwed up the whole night. Sorry.
I'm not good at that stuff.
Sorry, we didn't practice this.
How tall are you? That's good.
Well, thank you. Really pleased to be here this evening with you all and appreciate the opportunity to share a little bit of information about the firm Cannon Hill and our partnership with TAG Development on this exciting project. I'll let Dean load up the presentation here. So first and foremost, Cannon Hill, probably not a name a lot of you may know, but actually, interestingly enough, dates back to Morristown. And so our predecessor company was a company called Normandy Real Estate Partners. I was with Normandy really since 2007. And after a corporate transaction where we merged with a public REIT called Columbia Property Trust in January 2020. And then PIMCO acquired Columbia in a take private that closed in end of 2021. On the heels of that take private, myself and one of the co-founders of Normandy, Jeff Groening, we banded together inside of Columbia and approached PIMCO about buying back the legacy Normandy business. So we closed on that transaction in June of 2022. And today we have 60 people in the organization. We manage 3 funds, 2 separate accounts across 10 million square feet. We are a vertically integrated real estate development company. And in partnership with Ralph Salermo, TAG Development, it's a minority business enterprise, along with, we already went through the introduction, so I won't rehash that. But on this project in particular, we're really excited. Normandy dates back to Morristown, as I said, and getting into the our history and some of the projects we've done. If you'll go to the next slide, Dean. So this is a project we're delivering in Charlottesville, Virginia. This is a 227-unit residential project that delivered recently. We're about 40% leased. Anticipate being stabilized by next summer. And this we did in partnership with O'Connor Capital. The next project is a project that Ralph and I did. Ralph was the developer. This is a 93-unit multifamily project in Jersey City. This delivered, we currently own it, and it's fully leased and stabilized today. This is a project we closed on about 6 months ago. This is in Tribeca. It's about a 240,000 square foot vacant office building that we're going to reposition into a world-class residential building. It's about a $350 million development. We're underway on that, and that will deliver in 2 years. So relative back to New Jersey, this is some projects we've done in Summit. On the left-hand side, this was Wanda Forest that we built as McKinsey's headquarters. And on the right is 466 Springfield that was built for the Boston Consulting Group. They're the full tenant of that building. It was a built-to-suit that we delivered for them. And these are both in downtown Summit, New Jersey. And then here's just some other examples of projects that we've done or are delivering. Starting on the upper left-hand corner is an office building we delivered on the corner of 11th and Broadway In Manhattan, it's 799 Broadway, 182,000 square foot office building that's 80% leased. Tenants include Bain Capital, Wellington Financial, and Jay-Z's music company Tidal. And then on the right, in the middle, is a project called Boynton Gateway. That's a LEED Platinum life science building that we delivered in Somerville, Massachusetts. It's a $350 million development. The project is receiving its TCO next month. And then also on the right is a project that TAG Development, Cannon Hill, will be moving forward on, which is a 300-unit high-rise residential development in Jersey City. And that will, we're anticipated to break ground on that in the summer of '25. And on the lower left is about $1 billion mixed-use spec office project that we're working on in Manhattan currently. That's going to deliver end of this year. So I'll pause there. Happy to answer any questions about the firm and what we're doing, but really excited about this project. As I said, you know, our office as Normandy, we were at 1776 on the Green, so literally right across the street from this site, and I have a lot of history here with the project, and so super excited to be here and really appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Dean Marchetto. I'm a New Jersey licensed. Is this on? Yeah, just talk. I'm a New Jersey licensed architect and planner, and I've been charged by TAG Development and Cannon to present the vision for the subject property on North Park Place. I've done some work here in Morristown previously. Just let's see. Okay. Here. Okay. These are some projects that we had completed in Morristown, Metropolitan Lofts under Hart Street, 45 Market, and the Fox Rothschild Building. You may be familiar with some of these projects. So now I would like to talk about a proposal for North Park Place. I have a 10-minute visual presentation to describe the overall design concept. It is important to note that this is not a technical site plan presentation, which will come later as the project moves forward. This is simply an overall view, a conceptual view. What you're seeing here is a view of the proposed development from across the Green, standing in front of the Presbyterian Church of Morristown. On the right, right here, on the right is the new building that will replace the abandoned Century 21 department store. This will be a 5-story mixed-use building with 90 residential units on the upper floors and 31,000 square feet of ground floor commercial and retail. Just to the left is the existing 10 North Park Place, an existing 5-story office building which will remain. The building on the far left is a new 5-story mixed-use building with 18,800 square feet of ground floor retail and 46,600 square feet of office space on floors 1 and 2. Floors 3, 4, and 5 are residential floors with a total of 70 residential units. In both new buildings, the top floor steps back to create an architectural feature and define the building's top. There may be a mix of for sale and rental apartments. This is yet to be determined. So this is the overall ground floor plan with the North Park Place and the Green on the bottom of the page. On the far left are the 2 existing corner buildings that will remain. That's these right here. They're not part of this project. Let's see. In both cases, the street frontage is lined with retail uses and the entrance lobbies. The residential lobby is located on North Park Place, and the office lobby is on the Washington Street side. In these plans, the blue always represents office space, and the tan color represents retail space. Moving to the right, is the existing 10 North Park Place office building, which will be renovated to allow for retail uses in the back, which I'll explain more in a minute. Further to the right is the new building on the Century 21 lot. Except for the residential lobby located on North Park Place, the ground floor is entirely retail and commercial space. As you know, behind this site is the existing Dalton Garage on Catano Avenue. That's way in the back there. Here. I understand there are 625 spaces available in this garage, parking spaces available in this garage for this property, and we look forward to working with the town and the parking authority to figure out the best allocation of these spaces. One of the main planning and placemaking features of the plan is the creation of a publicly accessible rear courtyard that can be used for public outdoor events and activities, including outdoor dining, markets, and the like. To access this space, we created 2 new outdoor corridors, one on either side of 10 North Park Place, to funnel pedestrians from the street through the lot into the 15,000 square foot rear courtyard. The same route will allow pedestrians who park in the Dalton Garage to filter through the courtyard, through the outdoor corridors to North Park Place and the Green. This space will be a hidden treasure for Morristown. When the property programmed with retail and food and beverage uses, this can become a cool, hip gathering place with an urban vibe, maybe a Christmas market or a farmer's market type of place. Loading for these buildings will come through the existing alley off of Catano Avenue and feed the loading docks located here and here, and here, in the back of the buildings. All this will take place off street, so there'll be no loading on the street. It all comes through that alley on Catano. On the north side of the new courtyard is an additional retail space of 6,000 square feet, which is tucked under the loading parking area above due to the slope topography of the site. This will create retail uses on all 4 sides of the courtyard and truly activate this space. So if you can find my cursor here, this is the courtyard. This is the outdoor corridor on the left. This is the outdoor corridor on the right. These are wide corridors, I have renderings to show you, that filter into that courtyard space. And then above this area here, which is a retail area, there's a parking and loading area that's accessed from this alley that comes right down off of Catano. And there's a stairway that takes you up here or here, so residents can come, or shoppers could come from the Catano Garage up at the top, through this courtyard and out here to North Park Place, and then ultimately the Green on the other side. There are 2 of those, one on the left and one on the right. Again, this is the elevation of the North Park Place, the front view. I want to focus on the detail of the facade and the outdoor corridors that lead to the hidden courtyard. Please focus your attention on the right here. I'm looking here. You see this white space? That's one of the retail corridors. It's on the right side of 10 North Park Place, and there's an identical one on the left side, but it just happens to be behind the tree. This here is a close-up. As you see the open corridor, this is the left building. We call this the West Building on North Park Place. This is a new 5-story building with office and retail on the first 2 floors, and then residential up above for 3 more floors for a total of 5. If you look here on the right, this is an outdoor corridor. It's a 2-story height. It's a very generous height, so it doesn't feel like a tunnel or anything. And then when you come through to that outdoor space, which I'll show you more vision for. You see, the intent is to light the space and make it safe, and to line it with retail, so people feel welcomed in and feel safe. The buildings that you see here are just renderings, but the facade materials will be rich, high-quality materials, brick, stone, metal, and glass. Okay, so here is the hidden space. This is a view of the space if you're standing in the Dalton Garage on Catano, and you're looking out towards the green, and you look down, this is what you'll see. What you see here right in the front, this is the back of 10 North Park Place. The building has been renovated, and we have retail on the ground floor. This is the 15,000 square foot open outdoor space. And on the right here is the open corridor that takes you out to North Park Place in the green, and there's a similar one here on the left, right in here. They're about 15 to 20 feet wide. They're not narrow. They're generous spaces, and part of it is open to the air, and part of it is covered by the building up above. Now, this area here where these cars are parked is our loading, drop-off, and pickup space, and it's level and it's raised, and underneath that is that fourth side of retail. I know that this is a three-dimensional view. It's a little difficult sometimes to see the 3 dimensions. I have a scaled model here, which I can pass around when I'm finished. If you could look at it, maybe the 3D qualities of the building will be more apparent. So to further help you visualize what this looks like, this is the current condition. I'm standing on the top floor of the Dalton Garage, looking back towards that center space in the back. The building that you see here is the existing back of 10 Park Place. This is the existing Century 21. This 2-story building will be raised. And if I simply do a simulation like this, you'll see what happens. That turns into this. This is one of those magical hidden spaces that happen in downtowns that are special. And they're kind of hidden, and you stumble upon them sometimes, and they're active, and it creates a real diversity of place in downtowns. And then finally, the final drawing is a view inside the hidden courtyard looking west. On the left is the back of 10 North Park Place. This is the back right here. In the foreground here is the back of we'll call this one the west building. The other side of that building, that's one of the new buildings. The other side of that building is on Washington Street. On the right here is the retail that's below the loading area up here, which I described in the plan. And further off to the right is the Catano Avenue Garage. So this gives you a sense of how we use the topography to lower the grade back there, create a contained space, a sense of place about this, and use the topography to then create a retail here on the right, so that this entire courtyard is activated with street uses, retail, office, food and beverage. The whole perimeter will be activated, so this could be a very active place to be. So just a few final points. We felt so strongly that the scale of the development was critical to the overall success of the plan and the quality of the open space. We did not want to cram every square foot into the project, so while the redevelopment plan allows for a floor area ratio of 4.0, this project as presented is a 3.2 FAR. So we left square footage on the table to make sure that the building wasn't overbearing on the space that we were making. Simply put, we wanted to provide quality over quantity. We didn't want to overcrowd the site. And then some final facts. The total number of units, residential units here, is 160, of which 15% will be affordable housing, and includes the possibility of some home ownership or for sale units. The total new commercial office space is 143,900 square feet. This does not include the existing space to remain in 10 North Park Place. The existing building isn't in that number. The new space, the new commercial office space is 143,900. The total new retail space on the two buildings on the ground floor, including that little space in the back of 6,000 feet, is 43,500 square feet. And the new open courtyard itself is 15,000 of square feet of public open outdoor space. So this is a mixed-use, smart growth project that creates a high-quality vision for the downtown, along with preservation, placemaking, and affordable housing. It has all the ingredients for success, and I can see why the town is excited about this project. So this concludes my remarks. I do have the upper floor plans of the buildings, if you'd like to see them, to lay it out. But I think in the interest of brevity, in the interest of brevity, I'll just stop the presentation.
Can you put up slide 14? I'll pass the model around so you guys can take a look at it. I just want to point out a couple of things. You did a good job.
This one here?
Thank you very much. Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
I just wanted to let everyone see what you're looking at here. So you're looking at the back. One thing that I want to be clear is the building at 10 Park Place is historic, so that building is going to remain. Correct. So as you point the cursor, if you go down to the bottom window well, you'll notice how much lower the ground is over there in that area compared to the parking deck and the parking surface, and the two-story building that's over here to the right. So what incredible design that MHS architecture came up with is to knock down all this earth and excavate it down in order to create that additional space that's being created.
Yeah.
So we're really trying to open up that those two walkways around 10 Park Place to have that connectivity to the green and have the community be able to use that space.
And it also levels the courtyard space with the sidewalk on North Park Place. So when you're walking through, you're staying level, you're not sloping up.
So if you just go back to the slide that has the one that has the back and this one, slide 16. There you go, I'm sorry. So this one here, if the building to your left is actually the back of 10 Park Place. The green is to your left here. And that area to the right is the new retail space that's been carved underneath the ground with the parking garage behind it. So I just wanted to try to illustrate that a little bit better if I could. And thank you for your time. We'll take any questions.
Anyone from council have any questions? No? Good. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
All right, let's move forward with council liaison reports. Councilwoman Lindsay.
Yes, they have completed building units 6 and 8 of Flagler Street. 10 is still under construction. The inspection have been done in 6 and 8 unit. The dumpster that the mayor and I talked about has been removed from down there. We got more parking space. Now we working on the big canisters they got in people's yard because Clapper Drive is finished. The resident don't want to know why they are still there, and I'm working on it to talk to the company about removing them. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilman Plupchuk?
Next partnership meeting is tomorrow morning, so I'll have more in December.
Okay. Councilman Russo?
Next planning board meeting is December 5th, and that's it for the year.
Okay.
Morris Parking Authority will meet tomorrow.
Okay. Lots of upcoming meetings. Okay. Let's move on to regular business.
Wait, one moment, please.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you. There is one ordinance for reintroduction this evening, and that's ordinance O-28-2024, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 4, Licensing and Business Regulations, Section 4-3, itinerant restaurant licenses, specifically Section 4-3.3, license classes, term, number restricted, hours of operation of the Code of the Town of Morristown.
So I'll make a motion to table this. Is that the appropriate action?
That's correct.
Okay, so I will make a motion to table
Could
this.
we table it, and I'd like to explore the possibility of, let's put together a committee.
Yes, I was going to recommend a
What I'd
committee.
like, the-
Council President, oh,
I'm sorry?
There's a motion on the floor.
Oh, motion on the floor, and then I'll talk.
Okay.
When you-
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, you just threw me off. All right, we have
motion to table in a second.
We have a motion to table and a motion to second. Are there any comments or questions by
No.
council?
Now, Bob.
Got it, Nathan.
Okay.
It's, the green is actually in the first ward, and I think two people I'd like to have involved with the committee, if you could, would be Pastor Silver and Chris Russo.
Sure.
And I think we should meet with the partnership, meet with some, and work with the town. Because there's other issues here more so than what we were considering. And I think, it was a good thing that the ordinance got introduced. Because
Right.
it brought up other facts and other issues that we should be addressing.
Right.
Green's a very important part of the town.
Absolutely.
We saw that in the last presentation, even the importance of it. And I think if we could put together that subcommittee, we can meet with the trustees, understand their issues, meet with some of the vendors on the green, come back and meet with the municipality about enforcement and monitoring, and see what we can come up with.
I agree. Thank you. And thanks again for the trustees for coming out and sharing their thoughts with us.
And I'm sorry, if you could please confirm the subcommittee?
I was recommending Pastor Silver because he has an interest in it, Chris because he's a neighbor, and myself because it's in the first ward.
Right.
That's okay?
That is fine. Pastor Silva?
Yes, I accept that.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, terrific, thank you. So on the motion to table ordinance O-28-2024, Councilwoman Foster?
Yes.
Councilman Anacone?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lindsay?
Yes.
Councilman Polypchuk?
Yes.
Councilman Russo?
Yes.
Councilman Silva?
Yes.
Council President Umbreak?
Yes.
Ordinance O-28-2024 has been tabled for consideration at a future meeting, possibly. We have one ordinance for public hearing and adoption, and that's ordinance number O-29-2024, ordinance amending and supplementing the Code of the Town of Morristown, Chapter 7, Traffic, Section 7-11, stopping, standing, or parking prohibited during certain hours on certain streets, and Section 7-37, loading zones.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance number O-29-2024.
Second.
This time, I'll open the floor for a public hearing on ordinance number O-29-2024 only. Okay, hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Any comments or questions from council?
Just quickly, thank you for getting this done. I've had several residents actually reach out to me saying thank you for doing this. It is an issue. It's something that I've run into myself, trying to get a stroller, a bicycle, whatever through. So thank you for moving this along, and hopefully it passes. So.
Okay, on the adoption of ordinance O-29-2024, Councilwoman Foster?
Yes.
Councilman Iannacone?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lindsay?
Yes.
Councilman Polypchuk?
Yes.
Councilman Russo?
Yes.
Councilman Silva?
Yes.
Council President Umbreak?
Yes.
Ordinance O-29-2024 is adopted. There are 8 resolutions on the agenda for consideration tonight. Are there any that members of council would like to pull for separate consideration?
176?
Are there any others? Okay, I would ask for a motion, please, to adopt resolution numbers R-170-2024 through R-175-2024 and R-177-2024.
We'll make the motion.
Second.
On the adoption of those resolutions, Councilwoman Foster?
Yes.
Councilman Iannacone?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lindsay?
Yes.
Councilman Polypchuk?
Yes.
Councilman Russo?
Yes.
Councilman Silva?
Yes.
Council President Umbreak?
Yes.
Motion carries. Those resolutions are adopted. Resolution number R-176-2024, a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Morristown, County of Morris, New Jersey, designating certain property located at 19 through 21, 23, and 27 through 29 Market Street, and known as Block 6001, Lot 8.01, within the town as a non-condemnation area in need of rehabilitation pursuant to the local redevelopment and housing law, NJSA 48:12A-1 et sec, and authorizing the preparation of a rehabilitation plan for the property.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number R-176-2024.
I'll second.
Second.
Councilman Iannacone.
Jillian, do you want to just give a little background on this? Because this property has some history, because we
The
did.
old hotel site.
Exactly, because I think the public will have some questions about this one, why it's going back to council.
Sure.
Sure. So this site was originally approved some years back for a hotel. I believe it was Canberra. It was approved in 2017. Their original approval lapsed, and the property owner has since been marketing it for sale with mixed results. Also, since then, the zoning ordinance was amended, so the original hotel approval would not be compliant anymore with the zoning that is currently in place. But quite frankly, the hotel market right now is not likely to be viable for that site anyway. But it's also an important part of our downtown, is really kind of the last piece of the redevelopment sort of area, although it was not officially part of the original redevelopment area under which Fox Rothschild and some of the other buildings were done. So we wanted to make sure that we put something in place that allows the property to come back into reuse. And so with the assistance of this governing body who introduced the ordinance and sent it to planning board, we've made a recommendation that the property be considered an area in need of rehabilitation. That process started with the introduction of the ordinance from this council to direct the planning board to undertake that analysis. That analysis was done. The planning board did determine that it fits the criteria under the municipal land use law, and has now sent it back to the council to finalize the determination of an area in need of rehabilitation. If you decide to adopt the ordinance under consideration tonight, the next step would be to we would present to you a redevelopment plan that would put the zoning in place for the property to ensure that we encourage development that's consistent with the development that's in the surrounding areas. And we believe without moving forward with that, it's unlikely that the property would be redeveloped anytime soon.
Thank you.
Hold on. Yes, I'm sorry. Thank you, John. It is a resolution for your consideration, not an ordinance. Thank you for that clarification.
Okay, thank you. On the adoption of resolution number R-176-2024, Councilman Foster.
Yes.
Councilman Iannacone.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lindsay.
Yes.
Councilman Polypchuk.
Yes.
Councilman Russo.
Yes.
Councilman Silva.
Yes.
Council President Umbreak.
Yes.
Motion carries. Resolution is adopted.
Thank you. We don't have any unfinished old business or any new business. I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second? Anyone? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.
Thanks, Marta.